Logan Paul is Dillon Danis' last chance. Now, that's a lot of pressure. I just stuck pressure on my own guy, didn't I? Well, it's true, and Dillon knows it. I don't think there's going to be an issue here. I do not think, regardless of illness or injury, that Dillon pulls out. He never has before, and that's a great misunderstanding. I know I keep hitting at this, but this is Dillon's story to tell. Dillon did not pull out of KSI because he was hurt or because he was injured. There was something else that happened. I'm just sharing with you. He's never told the story. I'm just sharing with you. This is his last shot for sure. And it was great that Mams called for it. But this whole Dillon's crazy and Dillon's a madman, you can't count on him. Dillon was given this opportunity in spite of the KSI debacle because people like him. He's a very reasonable person. If you ever talk to him, he's a very nice person. He comes out, he's got a job to do, and he's going to build interest, and he's going to get under your skin. And all of those things are true. But the reason that the Paul situation arose is because people like Dillon. And that's just the truth of the matter. Now, I do want to bring to you, who is he training with and where is he training? Like, that is always a question around Dillon. When Dillon was getting ready to go to Abu Dhabi, and he draws Gordon Ryan in the first round, they go to war for 20 minutes, of which was dead even, by the way. Dead even. It went to the judges had to score it because it was either, I think it was 0-0, but there's a part of me that thinks it was 1-1. I was there and I watched the whole thing. I'm just sharing with you. Nobody really knew where he was preparing at. And when Dillon was getting ready to box KSI, nobody really knew where he was preparing at. And nobody really knew where he was sparring, who he was training, to the point that we didn't even know who's going to corner him. And that all came from trust issues. Like, Dillon really was looking around and he didn't know who his friends are. And I bring this to you because when I tell you it's his last opportunity, when Mams gave him this opportunity, they also made it very clear to Dillon, we're ready. We're going to do this opportunity, but we're ready and the show's going to go on. Number one, we're not main eventing you. It is wildly obvious in terms of attraction that Paul versus Danis is the top attraction. They've outdone KSI and Tommy Fury. From a public interest standpoint, there's nothing anybody can do about that. They just, Dillon and Paul and the personal stuff and threats of lawsuits. I'm just sharing with you all the way back to the water balloons, even though that was Jake. Like, I'm just sharing with you that has stolen the day, but Mams has also brought in Mike Perry. So I feel it's a very meaningful part of the story because now you have a commitment from Logan Paul, and I think Logan deserves credit for that. Logan is clearly telling the world, I'm going to compete at this weight class under these rules on that night, the end. And I don't think there's a lot of guys you could do that with. I don't think there's a lot of guys in boxing and or MMA that are willing to bring their skills at a weight class at a time, the end. Meaning I don't care who the opponent is. Meaning it's not, I got a personal beef over here, I got no beef over here. Either way, I'm competing on this night. I don't think there's many people you could do that with. Logan deserves credit, but it also changes the dynamic for Dillon. And I don't know in which way. Does that motivate Dillon? Does he love the idea of how successful he and Logan have been at building this into an attraction? Or does that put an unforeseen pressure on him? Does he love the idea that while he's got the power in his hand to put the phone down, not pick it up again, and bring a huge disappointment to everybody, which is something that a bad guy would do, but he knows it's going to be smooth sailing because Mike Perry's sitting there. Does that motivate him to go through with it, for lack of a better term? Does that motivate him to not care as much if he chooses to not go through it, right? I mean, it's one of these things, like the mindset comes down to the preparation. If you ever have a guy who's confident, and you really believe it, he seems confident at the press conferences, he looks confident, he tells you he's confident. If he really is inside, If he truly inside is confident, that comes down to one thing. Where's his cardio at? That's it. If you're confident, it's because you believe you're in better shape than that guy. In a worst case scenario, nobody cares about who hits harder, ever. I saw Mike Tyson make a comment yesterday, right? If anybody's got the right to opinion, it's Mike Tyson. But he was talking about punching power. No athlete cares how hard that opponent hits. That's in the guy that doesn't fight's idea. That's in the guy that doesn't actually get in. The guys that actually get in there could not possibly care less if that guy bench presses 500 pounds more than they do. The only thing they care about is in a worst case scenario, which is the end of the night comes around, this fight's still going. Can I hold up more than you can hold up? If I believe the answer to that is yes, I'm going to have a confidence. And you know why I take the time to illustrate that point to you? Because it comes back to the very first point that I made. I don't know where Dillon is training. When I see him, he looks great. So I know he is training. He's in shape. He's going to make 185 pounds. So I know that he is doing this process, but I don't know with who. And as the match gets closer, everybody's going to wonder. Everybody's going to have that same question. And if you are confident that you have paid the price and you have done enough, then you will have a confidence in the contest. And even though I'm singling out Dillon for this, I could have used these same words for KSI. I could have used the same ones for Bobby Fury. I could have used the same ones for Logan Paul. Like, the scenario doesn't change, but the opportunities do. When I tell you I'm very confident this fight is going to happen, when I tell you I'm very confident that Dillon is prepared, when I tell you I'm very confident that the show is going to go on as planned, I'm also very confident when I tell you this is Dillon's last chance.